Just make sure everyone can see my screen okay. Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, YouTube crowd, and also good morning, Instagram crowd. I'm going to get started here in just a second. Hope everyone is doing fine. Let's talk about some trades that I took yesterday, and then I'll also talk about just levels that I'm looking at today. So yesterday I took two trades, and I want to point them out. So I finished yesterday just shy of $6,000, and if you've been following along with what I've been doing in my project, it's a lot of work. It really is a lot of work because there's a lot of math that goes behind this, and I'm not really a math expert, but I do have a lot of experience when it comes to trading. So the two trades that I took yesterday, this is the performance of what was done yesterday. I took this first trade right here because there was a huge spike in volume on that candle. Do you see that? So I took that, and that actually resulted in a $750 loss. So I lost $750 there. And then the second trade that I took, I didn't take the short position that's fired right after that because I thought that there was absorption right here. I'm just explaining what I did yesterday for those of you guys that are joining on. I'm going to talk about stocks here in just a second, but it's not a secret what I've been doing. I've been doing more quantitative trading, and it's probably been the best trading that I've ever done ever. I had a day last week where I caught 1,600 points, and I wasn't even done. I think that I can even improve upon what I'm doing right now. So let's get back to this trade. So I took this one trade right here. So notice that we have absorption when it comes to that short position. So I didn't really want to go after that short. Just didn't want to do it. The second position that I took was this long right here. So I took that long, and then I got stopped out right here. I got stopped out because this candle started printing a short. So my dumbass, right, I thought that I was already good. I had a 50% win rate yesterday. And net overall, my net was, I lost 20 points on this trade. I can't remember how many points I made on this one. Let's check. It was about 105 points, okay? So it was 105 points. When Powell started to speak yesterday, that was this exact candle right here. However, this is very interesting. This already gave me a signal to go short. So how many points did I miss off, right? I took two trades, and then I missed the two bigger trades towards the end of the day, right? That's just what it was. So let's remove these drawings. So how many points was this particular trade right here, right? Let's see exactly what that is. So let's say I get in at the bottom of the candle. This is not giving you a signal to get it at the bottom of the candle. It doesn't wait for the candle close. There's some pretty clever mathematics behind you choosing whether the candle closes or you having a scoring. I talked about this on YouTube last night, if anyone saw the video. But there's a scoring system in the back that tells you, all right, this is a higher quality signal versus this is not such a high quality signal. So let's just say, for all intents and purposes, let's just say I get in right here. And then I ride that right when we're tagged on the VWAP, not the VWAP, I'm sorry, the TWAP. That's a 400-point move to the downside, right? It's a 400. So I missed. This is a $20,000 trade. It's a $20,000 trade. And this is off of the 10-minute time frame. I hope you guys can see this. So I missed out on that. And then I also missed out on this reversal right here. So these are real time, right? They give you real time information. And this, obviously, I'm going to pick this up. This is going to pick this up 10 times out of 10. There is not going to be any error whatsoever. There will never be an error where you have incoming volume and the cumulative net delta is either accumulating positively or negatively. It's never going to happen. Same thing here. So there was an absorption. That absorption was detected. And how many candles was it late? This was a big thing that I was working on. This is a huge, huge, huge thing that clicked for me, right? It really did click for me. When I'm looking at price action, if I'm looking at in the arena of just things going on, right? Just without using any voodoo lines, without using supply and demand, without using smart money concepts, without using any of that. Forget all that. Just using specifically where we are on the histogram with the CVD. If there is a trend identification, the CVD will give me fairly accurate information, accurate almost to a fault, right? So how many candles am I being delayed from the reversal? I'm being delayed one candle. There's one candle right here. This is an active session. You're looking at aftermarket data. There's no volume information. So right here, we're not trading. We're not trading after hours. Then I'm one candle late right here. Do you see that? It's just one candle. And you need one candle in order to derive proper information. You can't guess where the reversal is. That's not something you can do. So overall, I took my 2 trades. This gave me 5 trade ideas yesterday, right? I should have taken all of them. I really should have taken all. I would have been stopped out here, stopped out here. The next trade that I took was fine. It was 100 points. Then the next trade was 400 points. And then the trade after that, right? The trade after that, I would have been tagged. I would have been tagged right here. Let's be real. It would have been another 160 points. That's what it would have been. All right. So let's see what we have going on. I took a long. I just took this long a couple minutes ago, right? I sent in alert. I get alerts on my phone now, and it tells me, hey, we have a signal that's coming in, and it's based off of volume, right? Everything I do is based off of volume and volatility. That's just how it is. So I got the signal, and right now I'm up. Let's just see how many points. Probably up. Maybe I'm up probably 20. Let me check. Maybe 25 points. Yeah, I'm up 25 points. So in my broker, what am I going to do? I'm just going to manage the stop loss accordingly. So how am I managing stop losses lately? I'm managing my stop losses based on if there is a binary switch between the long or the short. So wherever I'm starting to get information where you're picking up on volume, right? There was a volume spike right here, but there needs to be sufficient volume. So notice there's a threshold here. This threshold, if we start picking up on the threshold, this is why this signal gave me a signal right here when we came in. A lot of us are going to say, well, Sage, that signal didn't work out. It did work out. It actually did what it's supposed to do. It's detecting a huge imbalance on either longs or shorts or just buys or sells. And it detected that imbalance right here. This is exactly what I wanted to do. If it didn't detect that, I would be pissed. I would be absolutely pissed. So if it didn't detect that, then I know that what I'm doing on the back end is just not working. It's just not, and that signal just went away. So I caught onto that signal. I actually caught onto it on the 5-minute time frame. Let's actually look at that. I don't like using the 5-minute all that much, but as of late, I've been using interchangeably between the 5 all the way up to the 15-minute time frame. So this is exactly where the accuracy lies. I don't like the 5-minute time frame. I really, really don't. I prefer the 10-minute. So let's get back to the point here. When we start spiking on volume and when we start spiking a little bit on volatility, because this is also calculating volatility real time. This is something that I haven't really seen in other trading systems. This is not an indicator. It's not an indicator. It's a trading system. It's literally how a trader would think, and it's making real-time decisions. And those real-time decisions are being calculated, and it's giving me a panel of all the things that it's calculating, right? Because I want to see that. I want to see that it's working. So right now, it looks like I have delayed information on the VXN, because if I'm going to trade NQ, I want to be directly connected to the correlating asset, volatility asset, that directly correlates to NQ. And if I'm switching over to ES, then this is going to be tied into the VIX, right? I think that there's a mathematically coherent relationship there. So what do we got? What do we got? Are we going to be taking every single little signal that we have here when it's 2 o'clock in the morning? No, more than likely not. But here, when the session begins, there's always going to be a huge amount of orders that are being pushed. That's how the market works. All of that happens when the session opens, right? So later on today, you guys are watching me now. This is going to be documented here on YouTube. Later on today, I'm going to talk about the trades that I take or don't take, specifically this one that I just took off the 5-minute. I'm going to talk about if it was a successful trading day or not. Okay, I'll be discussing that later on tonight with my breakdown and my trade reviews. Okay, so what are we looking at now for just stocks in general? This would have been a good signal to take too. This overall started the trend. So let me look at the 15-minute time frame. Let me see something here. Yeah. I mean, I prefer the higher time frames. I like the 10 minute and I like the 15 minute. And I've actually, the higher time frame I go, the better the results in my back testing, which is something that like it keeps me up at night. I'm thinking like, why am I even wasting my time on the 3 minute or 4 minute time frame if I can just, I can just focus on the higher time frames, and I'm going to reduce a lot of noise. I don't have to win every single trade. I don't have to have a high win rate, but my risk reward on all the trades that I will be taking is fairly good. And then I remove a lot of the, you're going to have some latency. Of course, you're going to have some latency, but even on the 15-minute time frame, it is absurd how accurate I'm able to get. Hopefully you guys can see this on your resolution on your smaller screens, but it's quite impressive how, and we're talking about a high volatility session. We're talking about sessions with volatility that is above 30, okay, on VX, well, on the VIX. So volatility on these candles are moving 200 to 300 points on the 10 to 15 minute time frame. So these are just the peaks and troughs, right? And I'm showing you after hour data as well, which I'm not going to be trading after hours. But that 11% move, I was able to, well, obviously anyone was going to be able to detect that. That's the easiest shit in the world for you to detect. That's not the problem. The problem is not detecting big moves like that. That's like the easiest thing in the world to see. But where we have strong turns and where we have strong trend identifications, I'm going to be catching that. I'm going to be catching every single one of them, literally every single one. There's no way in hell where I won't be detecting a breakout or a sell-off. It's just not going to happen. Here in a choppy market, even in a choppy situation where you're rigid, right? It almost looks like a sound wave, right? Even here, you have relatively consistent accuracy. You would have been stopped out here, you would have been stopped out, and then you would have gotten into this trade, provided that you're still trading within market open. So this is a choppy day, but still results doesn't look too terrible. It really does. For no system, no trading system, no algorithm, no quantitative analysis, no financial analytics is ever going to outperform a choppy day. It just doesn't exist. It's one of the caveats. It's one of the things that you need to accept about trading. In choppy markets and choppy days, you can't really make that much money. All right, so there's a good amount of accuracy here. Whenever there's a larger move, and this is the 15-minute time frame, guys. I like the 10 minute to 30-minute time frame. I like quite a bit. So this is what I've been working on lately, right? It's no secret. It's no magic. There's no magic to this at all. It's all about quantifying criteria, and I'm trading off of roughly about, right now it's between 4 to 6 things that I'm looking for, and it has a scoring system. And the scoring system I think is so clever. I stole this, well, I didn't steal this. I got this idea from someone else, where it's literally a quality assessment. So if we look at a couple criterias, some of them are weighted more than others. For example, volume and volatility are going to have a higher significance rating. So at the end, the score is between 1 to 100. If we get above a specific threshold, above 60 for the rating, then you get a signal. And that signal will usually be quantified by the 2 highest rating values. The highest rating values are volatility and volume, right? That's not hard. And then from there, you make the decision on whether you want to take the position or not. I'm just using this as a visual confirmation on, if I take it or not. Yesterday, if I was hanging out on the 15-minute time frame, I'm waking up a little bit earlier. I know, all of us have jobs and all of us have lives. We're not spending our entire day in front of the computer, but there was a fairly decent signal here at 5:30 in the morning, and then this turn was just one candle behind. So in relative terms, off the 15-minute time frame, I'm behind by 15 minutes, but still overall would have caught the move. You see what I'm saying? So that's still 100 points. It's still 100 points. So if I just would have floated out of the idea of spending all my time on the 2-minute, 5-minute, 4-minute time frame, and just stick to my 10 and my 15-minute, I get the best results off the 10-minute all the way up to the hour time frame. Specifically around the 15-minute and the 30-minute time frame, seems like there is such a harmonious relationship between detection and also good trend analysis, right? We get better information on trends on the higher time frames. So just with that, man, you have 3 I would say, pretty decent signals. We'll see if this is going to play out today. I don't know if I'm going to be stopped out or not. I have no idea. I have no clue. But I know that if we are looking for some sort of trend to be formed, more than likely I'm going to detect it. All right. Now let's talk about some stocks. Yesterday, Nvidia sold off hard. It sold off really, really hard. If you're not up to date, Nvidia got tagged with a tax implication. I've said this a few times, and I'll continue to say this. I will not change my mind. Off the daily time frame, Nvidia for me will be closer to a buy, in my opinion, around $75 to $85. So you have about a $10 window there. Unless we get to that point, I'm not interested. Okay, I'm really, really not interested unless that level plays out. All right, let's go. Let's see how much time I have. I'll talk about 3 other stocks, and then I'll open up the floor just in case anyone has any questions. I want to give you guys some time. Oh, wow, Humana just dropped off a cliff. Wow. All right. So the other stock that I would like to discuss that I'm interested in getting into is going to be Amazon. I think that Amazon might be tradable in a little bit. So Amazon, I'm looking for around $170. So if this holds, in my opinion, it's going to be a higher low. I know that the sell-off has been scary. It's been very scary, but not really all that much volume. Comparatively speaking to how much buying pressure we got just a couple days ago, I don't necessarily think that I think that there's more anxious buyers than there are anticipatory sellers. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Obviously, we can sell off more from here, but I think that there's more buyers that are eager to buy into some of these stocks and look to buy into some of these quote unquote discounts rather than more selling pressure, specifically from some of the hedge funds and some of the larger players. This is just my opinion. This is speculative. But if we do hold about 170 or back down here into this demand area from a technical aspect, I understand the valuation, I understand the PE ratios, I understand the fundamental analysis, I get all that. But between 160 to 170, more than likely, is what I'm looking to buy into on Amazon. And one other stock that maybe I'll bring to everyone's attention is semiconductors. So I bought into this at $9.80. This broke a threshold yesterday. It was down at $8.50. Let me see. Let me confirm that. Okay. So what I said is if we had a break of structure, right? I don't think that we have a break of structure quite yet. If we broke the double or triple bottom here around $7.75, I think that I'm probably going to cut my position and call it a day. And then I'm going to wait, right? I've been very consistent with this particular little nugget. I'm going to wait for my 5 and 21 cross off the 4-hour time frame, right? I'm going to wait for that. If I can get that once again, then I'll buy into SOXL if I do get cut off. Right now, I'm sitting very close to break even, right? A couple of people were asking me yesterday if we should cut the position. I said no. I said that you can buy a counter bear ETF, right? That was just a recommendation that I gave. But I didn't want to cut this. I don't want to cut my shares position. I really don't. I want to buy more shares, right? I want to buy a lot more shares, but just like everyone else, everyone is trying to be ahead of the curve. Everyone wants to buy into before something is released or something is paused or policy is changed or we reach a mutual agreement. I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. But everyone wants to be ahead of the curve. That's why you're seeing extremely violent price action, right? You see it. Obviously, we've been seeing it. So unless I get a little bit of confirmation, I'm not going to call the bottom. No, that's just not my business to do. But I will try to get a good part of the move overall, okay? So in my opinion, I think SOXL, despite the fact that NVIDIA got tagged with almost a $6 billion hit to their exportation for Chinese goods, or for the Chinese market, I should say. It's not Chinese goods, it's American goods. I understand all that, but I think that the risk reward is still pretty good here for SOXL, up to about $14, $15. All right, that's all I'm going to say. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I talked about? Does anyone want to ask me anything about any particular stock? I have the sun in my eyes, so if I'm squinting and that's awkward, I apologize. I'm going to check out my trade. Let's see how we're doing. That's a wicked candle. That's a really wicked candle. Yep, 110 points on that one wick. I gotta stop looking at the 5 minute. I really do. Despite me not liking it that much, I'm still just so used to it. Cool. I'll talk about AMD. Okay. So AMD, there's still another gap to be filled lower. The gap to be filled lower is $60 to $65. That's what it is. That's literally what it is. Okay. So we cannot sit here and think that AMD can't go lower. I already bought into AMD. AMD has almost 15% of my portfolio. 15%. Can you imagine? So I have a lot of money in AMD. I'm down a lot. I'm down a lot on AMD. My average on my leverage shares on AMD is about $5.50 or $5.80, something like that. So AMD is being heavily shorted at the moment, but I think I don't think that you should be looking at it necessarily as a trade, right? There's trading, and there's also a little bit more longer outlook. So for us traders, especially now where everyone thinks that hyper volatility is the new norm, that's fine. But volatility will never, ever, ever supersede fundamental analysis. It will never happen, ever. It might for certain points or certain times, like when the GME thing happened during COVID. But in my opinion, I think that AMD is a high value company. That's just my opinion. Would I recommend buying into it at this moment? Even though I'm in it. I'm a huge, huge AMD shares holder. Huge. I have thousands of shares, thousands and thousands of shares of AMD. Would I say to buy into it right now? All right, I'm going to say the following, right? So you understand. If you buy into AMD here at $89 or you buy into it at 77, you have to be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with the fact of it pulling back. And this is just a guess, another 30%. You have to be comfortable with that. If that is not something that you can tolerate, holding on to your shares more long term, I would recommend that you don't even consider it. So from a valuation standpoint, I'm thinking 2-3 years down the road. Is a 30% drawdown here going to matter if we're going to trade back up to 170, maybe 180? I don't know. I would prefer that if you're looking more long term, I would prefer that you wait maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit. I'm telling my wife as well, because my wife wants to buy more AMD, and she constantly is asking me about it. Should I buy? Should I buy? I'm telling her the same thing. So the information that I'm giving you is the same that I'm giving to my own household. I'm saying if we jump back down to about $78 and hold the 5 and the 21, there's a good chance that I would buy even more. Okay. If you are not comfortable with the volatility, because volatility it's very uncomfortable, and every day my portfolio is up, 6 figures, and then it's down, a multiple of 6 figures at the end of the day. That's where we're at. For you guys as well, I'm sure that the volatility in your shares positions are like all over the goddamn place. If you are not comfortable with that, then I would recommend that you forfeit forfeit the fact that you're gonna time the bottom and just wait a little bit for more clarity. If you are okay with the volatility and you have a little bit of money to put off to the side, if you want to do an ETF, if you want to go the safe route, I'm going to recommend SMH. SMH is phenomenal for this. Look into the holdings. This has outperformed the S&P 500, I believe, for the last 7 years, right? Until we got into this little drawdown right here. But it has outperformed quite well as the benchmark, if you're using the benchmark of the S&P. So if you bought into this just 2.5 years ago, you see what I'm saying? The outperformance on SMH was great. It was really, really good. If you want to go the safer route, I would recommend an ETF. Like it doesn't have to be SOXL. I'm crazy. I'm probably insane at this point. But if you're looking for a high risk reward, I would go with SOXL. AMD, I think, is a happy medium. So if you do something like this, yeah, maybe wait to about $75 because my bottom is 60. Okay, that is my absolute bottom. What I'm looking at. So how much lower can you go if you're getting in at, let's say, $80? Let's do the math. I'm trying to be careful with what I'm saying here. I'm not trying to drag this out because if I say to buy into something, there's some people that will say, all right, I put $50,000 into something, and I'm like, why would you put that much money into something that we really don't have that much confidence in? So that's where I'm coming from. Okay. So if you can withstand about a 20, 25, 30% drawdown, I think that AMD is a good bet. I really do. Do I think that it is a better bet than NVIDIA? I personally think that it is, personally. Do I think that AMD can still grow quicker than NVIDIA? I do. I actually do. If NVIDIA does trade back down to the $80 level, so a $20 roll off from here, then I would buy into NVIDIA. I bought NVIDIA many times over when this run hit. The entire run for NVIDIA from 2022 all the way up to where we are now, I wrote it. I wrote the entire thing. Literally the entire, I actually got better returns on what it is that I took than NVIDIA. But I digress. Cool. So those are just my opinions. Nothing wrong with waiting, but consider those risks and consider those opinions that I think that AMD is growing as a company. I think that AMD has good fundamentals, and I think that they are quiet for right now. They're second. They're in second place. ASML is a huge contender, and there's other small semiconductor companies that are up and coming. But for the infrastructure that AMD has and their performance on their chips, they're not that far off. Okay, so I would not count them out. I really, really would not. Okay, I am a huge AMD holder, huge. But right now I'm down. I'm going to tell you the exact truth. I'm down 45% on my position on AMD. Right. But I'm comfortable with it. I actually want to buy more, but I don't think that right now for me is the right time to do that. Cool. Those are my comments on AMD, guys. Does anyone have any additional questions? Okay, we're running up on 9 o'clock. So I'm going to hang out another 2 minutes. If you guys are interested in what I've been doing and what High Strike has been doing for the last couple weeks, I'm building a new trading system, a trading system that specifically focuses on futures. I want to do things differently than I've done in the past. I've just been obsessed with the idea of me trading on as a day trader, but being more quantitative. I'm being very transparent with what it is that I'm doing, right? Because I put a lot of money behind my futures trades. Sometimes I take futures trade position. You don't have to believe me. It's okay if you don't. But sometimes I put tens of thousands of dollars behind my futures trade. Yesterday, my one stop out was $750. My next trade that I took, I made $6.2 thousand, right? 6.2K. So my net was overall really good. The two positions that I didn't take, because I'm a bozo, would have been substantially more. So I'm about to be stopped out on this trade. So it would have been substantially more. Now, provided if I'm looking at my back testing and I'm doing the things that I'm doing now, if the numbers are good, this is probably what I'm going to be doing going forward. I don't want to be doing EMA crosses any longer. I want to do something more quantitative and a little bit more statistic based. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. If you're part of our Discord, you already know because I talk about it all the time. I have a big mouth. If you're not, if you just follow us and just want to see a little bit under the hood, that's what I've been working on. Okay, I've been literally focusing on the mathematics. If the mathematics makes sense, if the statistics make sense and the back testing makes sense, that's where I'm moving. That's what I've been doing. It took a long time for me to get here, but now that I'm here, it's something that I'm just obsessed with. I really, really am obsessed with it. I've always been obsessed with data, but now it feels like even more so. So that's just an update from what I'm doing. Also, check out our newsletter. Our newsletter is fantastic. It is literally a 10 out of 10. There is so much thought that goes into that newsletter. There's so much thought and great information that you guys get that we compile for you. So I use it, I follow it, I read it religiously because Shane gives some input on it. And then we also have some high quality traders that are also giving input into that newsletter. So if you are interested, it's free. Just sign up to the newsletter. I highly, highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure 99.999% that you will not regret signing up to that particular newsletter. Okay. Does anyone have any additional questions? I usually like to do this at the end of the session. If you feel that you got good information during the session, give me a thumbs up. If you feel that I wasted your time, you can give me a thumbs down. That's okay as well. We're always looking to improve what we're doing, and we're always looking to improve the quality of the information that we put out there. So give us some feedback, and then we'll call it a day from here, okay? The YouTube link is in the bio. So I've been going on YouTube pretty much every day. Every single day I've been going on YouTube, and I've been talking about, on my YouTube videos, they're a little bit longer. They're like 20 to sometimes 40 minutes. But if you follow it, if you are understanding, I'm basically telling you what I'm doing. If you're a developer, if you're a coder, you can figure it out, right? You can literally figure it. It's not magic. I'm talking about the trades that I'm showing you how they print. I'm literally telling you, okay, this is what's going on, right? I mean, I can't make this up. I'm not drawing this on the chart. So I'm telling you how it works, right? If you just follow those YouTube videos, very soon, very, very soon, those YouTube videos are probably going to be a very good documentation of how it is that I came into the results that I want to get. I don't need a 70% win rate. I need a 40% win rate. But I want my risk reward to be 7-1. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So that's what it is. That was a really good example of that here. So this would have been a wash. This would have been a win. So yesterday, my win rate, what was my win rate yesterday? It was 50%. But with that, I still made, what was it? 180 points, right? That's all I care about. I just care about, at the end, is there a net positive result? What's the drawdown? And how much do I need to suffer in order for me to sustain a positive outcome? If the drawdown is too big, I'm not interested in that. But I will not have drawdowns trading this way. It is impossible to have a large drawdown. It is literally impossible. Impossible. I can have maybe a loss of 50, 60 points, maybe 70 points on a stupid wick. That's fine. But I'm usually looking for 2 to 3, maybe 4 trades before I get the banger. You see what I'm saying? So right now, I'm getting stopped out on this trade. More than likely, I took a 40-point stop. But we'll see at the end of the day if I do catch any trades, right? You can watch on the YouTube video later on today if I did catch anything or not. It's going to be interesting to see. Okay? Okay, let's call it a day, everyone. Everyone have a great day, and then I'll see everyone later on YouTube. Take care, guys.